With the NFL season finally over and college football season over, I know it's the worst time of the year, but it's also an exciting time. It's NFL mock draft season. It's NFL drafting combine time. And with that, this is my NFL mock draft 1.0 in 2025. Leading the way, I got at the first overall selection, Abdul Carter. I think he's a player who is as close as I've seen to a Micah Parsons, Myles Garrett level disruptor that I think I've seen in the last few drafts. Also, in the first three, I got Cam Ward going to the Cleveland Browns, and then obviously the most highly touted player, my highest graded player in this year's upcoming draft, in Travis Hunter. Now, the reason why I got Travis Hunter falling to the Giants at 3 is because the Titans, I think they're in a weird place at the quarterback position. I didn't love their general manager's comments about where they were going to go. He talked about if there was a generational talent or a blue chip recruit in this draft, he would consider going there instead of quarterback. So this could be a situation where you go get Abdul Carter, kind of starting up your defense, and then you look to 2026 to be the year you go get a quarterback. Because remember, 2026, it is Nico Amayava from Tennessee. You have Arch Manning. You have a lot of different players who could potentially be first overall top 5 selections in this upcoming drafts. There are some scouts who'd argue that this upcoming draft in 2026 is a lot stronger than the draft currently in 2025. Now, the biggest surprise in this draft is the trade I got at the 5th overall selection. I got the New York Jets trading up to number 5 to select Shedeur Sanders. Now, a lot of people have Shedeur mocked to go into the Giants. However, I think with Abdul Carter going 1, it'll completely shake up the draft. At number 3, the Giants will be in a really hard predicament because you'll have to decide to take a quarterback or passing up on Travis Hunter, who in my opinion is the only generational talent in this draft. Travis Hunter is going to need to go to an organization that has creativity on the offensive and defensive side of the ball. I think Brian Dable and that staff with the New York Giants could go out there and maximize a Travis Hunter. I do feel like he can play both sides in the NFL. I think he'll spend majority of his time locking down one side of the field on defense, and then you'll have some spread concepts and packages where he'll play the X or a slot receiver. Now, he probably is not going to play 100 snaps a game, but if you're going to maximize a player like Travis Hunter, that does mean you will have to find ways of using him on both sides of the field. And I think the Giants are the team to do that. But also, I think the Giants could be in consideration of getting Sam Darnold in free agency. So with that being said, I can see the Giants being in a situation where instead of thinking of a full-blown rebuild where you start from scratch with a young quarterback, you go get a veteran in Sam Darnold who's proven that he is capable, and then you add weapons like Travis Hunter to pair alongside Malik Neighbors, and you might find yourself in good company with the New York Giants, especially in a division that is looking to be really competitive over the next few years. Now, Shedeur at number 5, I do think the New York Giants, it has been talked about, Mel Kiper reported that there are some rumblings that the Jets are highly interested in bringing in quarterback Shedeur Sanders. Now, in order for them to do that, they will have to trade up. There are some speculations that the Jets might trade up a little higher than number 5 to get Shedeur Sanders, but it will take a haul. I do think some teams, especially like the Patriots or the Giants, you would have to give a king's ransom, even if that means going up a few picks. I think Shedeur Sanders is a more highly touted prospect than I think some of these scouts have given credit to. I also think scouts are trying to murky up the water with Shedeur a little bit, just so people don't know how much you value a certain player. Obviously, these GMs have egos and they're trying to have leverage throughout the draft process, especially during the draft. So I think even though the water is kind of cool, there's this obvious narrative that Shedeur won't be the first quarterback drafted. It'll easily be Cam Ward. I do think it is a bit of smoke and mirrors, and a team like the Jets could be the team to take the bait and go up and get their signal caller of the future. Now, one player in this mock who I do think when you look back at this draft, who's in my top 15, Mike Green out of Marshall, by far my favorite player to watch at this year's Reese's Senior Bowl. He was a player who came in and said, I am that guy. I am a dog. Just because Marshall is on my helmet, I'm as good as any edge rusher in this draft. And to be completely honest with you, if Mason Graham and Abdul Carter were not in this draft, Mike Green would easily be my first edge rusher taken. I think his length, his motor, his power at his size, and his frame are all the intangible things that scouts are looking for when they're looking for edge rushers. My biggest draft riser, who's not on this current mock, but will probably be on my updated 2.0 mock draft, will be Ole Miss quarterback Jackson Dart. Scouts have fallen in love with Jackson Dart after his performance in the Reese's Senior Bowl. This is a guy who has a really quick release, a lot of experience at the quarterback position. We've seen with guys like CJ Stroud and Jaden Daniels that a lot of snaps under your belt in college, it does translate to the National Football League. Jackson Dart has a great frame, a strong arm. He's mobile in the pocket. And in the right system, I could see a team like the Pittsburgh Steelers potentially being interested. The New York Jets could potentially trade back down in the draft to go get a Jackson Dart. He is a player that if you're looking for those quote unquote intangible things, those physical qualities that we love from these quarterbacks, ladies and gentlemen, Jackson Dart has all of those qualities. He has the stature. He has the snap count. He has the wins. I mean, he played in the SEC. Now, I'm a firm believer that every national championship winning and every Heisman winning quarterback, they don't have to be the best quarterback in the class. The one thing that I look for when I'm addressing or assessing a quarterback is, can you play within chaos? And I don't think for the majority of Jackson Dart's career, he had the best offensive line or the best stability up front. And he's had some hiccups in the SEC. However, his toolbox, his ability to throw on the run, his ability to really layer throws and make passes easily catchable for wide receivers, I think it's very underrated by Jackson Dart. I can see even a team like the Raiders, if they don't get Shedeur Sanders in the first few picks, they could be a team interested in trading back to bring him in. And a team that's looking for their successor. A lot of people have talked about Matthew Stafford being traded. If I'm the Rams, maybe that successor is Jackson Dart. There is a lot to be desired about his ability to play the quarterback position. I wouldn't look at his win-loss record at Ole Miss or what big games did he win or didn't win. I'm looking at the toolbox and the potential head coach that he'll be paired with in order to allow himself to be the best version of Jackson Dart. But when I look at this draft, Jackson Dart is the most intriguing quarterback to me because of the top two guys. It's almost a clear-cut two-horse race of who'll be quarterback 1 or 2 in this upcoming draft. I think the race to see who quarterback 3 is, it starts at Jackson Dart, and then there's everybody else. I think he is clearly quarterback 3, and then the rest of the pack, they'll fall in where they fall in. But the only other quarterback that does not have the last name Ward or Sanders, who I truly believe will get into the first round in some way squeak in, is Jackson Dart of Ole Miss.